Hey, hi everyone, this is Mukesh from learnautomation.com. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll mainly discuss what is property file in Selenium, what is the usage of it, and what is exactly this property file. So before moving to the actual code, let's talk about what exactly you will get after this video. So you might have heard the different terminologies, what is object repository in Selenium, what is property file or configuration file. So ultimately you will get to know all are same. We need to use one property file in Selenium which will behave like an object repository, or you can use as a configuration file, or in Java terminology you will see it's a simple property file. Then we'll talk about what is the use of it, why we are using this file in Selenium, and do we need this. Then we'll talk about how to read this property file in Java, and we'll use the same in Selenium. So you will notice we'll write a program. So we'll create a small library so that we can reuse the code in every script. And finally, we'll use this property file in Selenium script. So what exactly is this property file? It's just a plain text file which contains data in a form of key and value pair. So this key and value pair will be, let's say, I have a specific ID. So let's say if you say ID equal to 2, then you will get Mukesh. ID equal to 5, then you will get some other name, let's say Selenium. ID equal to 8, it's equal to Akash. So we have this key and value pair. So we'll use this key and value pair combination in Selenium. You will get to know in just few minutes what exactly I mean by key and value pair. So same thing, if you specify the key, it will return you the value. If you remember your college time, every student having some roll number. So if you call roll number 50, then winner will be give the present. So you can use this as a configuration file. Now, what is this configuration file? Configuration file, you can assume we have some setting file where you have some specific data, and that data you want to use across your scripts. So you will get the complete detail how we can use this configuration file, what I mean configuration in Selenium, and you can use this as an object repository as well. So if you're not using page object model and if you're using the simple approach, then you have to use this as an object repository. So the duplicacy of code will be less. Okay, so let's assume it. What is the use of it? So the usage will be, let's say I have 3 scripts. In every script I'm using Chrome driver. So if you are working with Selenium, you know we have to download one driver and we need to specify the path of the driver. So let's assume I have 3 scripts. All these 3 scripts are using Chrome driver. So if I don't use any property file, so what will happen if I change the path from one location to another location? Then I have to modify individual script. I have to go to each script and modify the Chrome path. But that is again not a good way to do this. We need a central location where we can keep all the configuration details like Chrome path, iDriver path, Excel file path, and so on. So what we can do, we can keep everything in a separate property file, and we'll keep all the details. You can keep URL as well. I generally use URL, and I will tell you how I use this URL in property file. So our approach will be, we will not hard code the Chrome driver path in individual script. We'll keep the path in property file and we'll read from the file. So in case in future, if any changes comes, I won't update my test cases. I will simply update the property file. So don't confuse with property file. It's just a naming convention. If you're using with as a configuration file, so it will be configuration file. And if you're using as a object repository, like you're storing locators, then it will be object repository. And in interviews as well, you will get different terminologies, like have you ever used configuration file in Selenium? Then don't get confused. This is the one line answer. Yes, property file we have used as a configuration file. And still, if you are not using page object model, you have to use this object repository. So let me show you what I mean. So let's create a folder first. So right click on your project. I already have one project. I have the Selenium library added. So I have only one jar file, Selenium server standalone. So I will create a folder called configuration. Click on finish. You will get this folder. Now I will create the property file. So I will right click on this, click on file, and I will say config.property. Yeah, so make sure the extension is property. So when you click on this, you will see a plain text file. Now here we will specify the key and value pair. So let's say I have to specify the Chrome path. I will say Chrome driver and I will specify some location. Let's say I want to specify iDriver as well and URL. Yeah, so let's talk about this URL part. If you have worked with any application, you might have noticed in every release you will get the URL different. So now let's assume the same scenario. If I have created 50 script for my old application and now suddenly URL has been changed. So it's not a good way to modify individual script, right? You have to modify all your script, go one by one and update. So better keep the URL in the configuration file. So in every release, even if URL is getting changed, you don't have to update your test. Simply go to this property file, update here, and it will be reflected in individual test cases. So this is one of the way to make your test robust. And maintenance will be very easy if you follow the same approach. So you can keep multiple here, like where your Excel file is located and so on. So in this example, I will keep this URL. So let's say I want to specify my blog URL. Chrome path, let me check where I have kept all the Chrome driver and iDriver. So if I go to my C drive, somewhere I have the Selenium drivers, yes. No, I just moved. Yeah, so this is the Chrome driver path. So what I will do, I will right click, I will press shift button, right click, you will get this option called copy as path. You can see this option. Now if you go to your Eclipse, simply see Control V. I will remove this double quotes and I will keep this one more slash. If I want to use iDriver, I will go back. I will get this iPath. Again, I will press shift button, right click on this iDriver server, copy as path. Yes. Okay, you can give one enter command as well so it will look clean. Right now I'm not giving this Excel path. So if you're using Excel, you can update the path over here. So this is the configuration file. So let's close this. Now let's create a new test case. So this test case, let's say, let me create a package as well. So package, I will give test config, or let me give package name is configuration demo. Class name, I will give test Selenium blog. I will click on finish. Okay, so before writing this actual test, let me write a small program how to read this file. Then I will segregate this code and I will keep this in a separate library. So let's create a method called test config and I will put at the rate test symbol. It will ask me to import either from JUnit or TestNG. I'm a big fan of TestNG, so let's take the TestNG. So now it's just a 3 lines of code to read this file. I can join all these 3 lines into one line as well, but let's use the standard way first. First, you need to specify where your file is located. So you need to specify the file path. So when you say file, it will ask you to import the respective package. So don't get confused. Take file from java.io. Now location. So if I need to specify the location, I have two ways. I can go to this property file, right click on this, and if I go to property, I can see it's giving me very lengthy location, right? But I know it is located under my workspace, so I will put one dot operator. So this dot operator refers like the file is located under my workspace only. Now I have to only specify the folder name. So I will say configuration. Then I will specify the file path with extension. So I will say config dot property file. Sorry, yeah, property. So now this will specify where the path is located. Now I will use file input stream FIS equal to new file input stream, and I will specify the source. So I want to read this file, so I have to specify the source. Now again it will ask you to import the respective package. So put mouse over and it is asking me please change it to file input stream. Okay, I just forgot this E over here. Now put mouse over and import. Now if you notice, if you put mouse over, it is throwing one exception called file not found exception. So now you have two options, either use try catch or throw. So let's use throw as of now, and you can see all the options. So I will use the base exception called exception class. Now we are almost done. So it will specify the path. This will convert into an input stream. Now in Java we have a property class to read the property file. So I will simply create object of property file. So I will say property, and it will ask me to import the package. So put mouse over and yeah. So now you see I did a small mistake. The class name is not property, class name is properties. So use this third option, and this is coming from java.util. By mistake, if you take this one, this won't work. So change it to properties and take this third option, which is coming from java.util. And same changes I will make here. It's a properties file. Now we are done. So last thing, you need to load the file. Just give me a minute. I need to put my phone on silent. Yeah. So now when you create object of this property file, that is pro, so you need to call one method called load. And once you say load, you can see one option. You can specify either reader file, either file input stream. We have used file input stream, that is nothing but our FIS. So this 4 lines will load your property file, and now you can use it. So let's take one example. I want to get this Chrome driver path from this property file. What I will do, I will say pro.getProperty. So now this property class have one method called getProperty. What it does, it will accept the key from you and it will return you the value. And you can see the description as well. It search for the property file with the specific key which you will mention. If the key is not found, then it will return null. Okay, but if it matches with some data, it will return you the exact data. So I need this Chrome driver path. So this is the key. So left hand side will be the key, right hand side value will be the value. So I want this Chrome driver, and here we go. So when you put mouse over, you know it will return you as a string, the data as a string. So I will keep here, I will say Chrome path. And as of now, just for the testing purpose, I will say print. Hey, Chrome path is dash equal to, then I will say Chrome path. So now if you simply run this, run as testng test. Okay, so now if you see here, it is getting the exact location, G drive, Selenium folder, Chrome folder, and Chrome driver.exe. So you are able to read this property file. Now we need to use this in our script as well. So this is just a dummy code. The actual code we'll use now. I will simply create a new script, test Selenium in Chrome. So let's say I have a separate script. In this script, I want to use this property file. So this will be my script. I will give any dummy name as of now, test Chrome, and I will keep this testng. Let me write the code driver equal to new Firefox driver. So you can see I'm getting these options because I'm using one command called control space. So if I put driver.get, let me open my blog. Then, and let me use this Chrome driver. To use this Chrome, we need Chrome driver path. If you have not visited my previous tutorial in which I have discussed how to start Chrome driver, why we need driver, then please do visit the previous tutorial how to execute test cases in Chrome. So if you know, we have one method called setProperty where we need to specify the property. So the key and value webdriver.chrome.driver, and here you need to specify the driver path. If I want, I can keep the static value here, but let's take it from the property file. So now I had two ways. First way, either I can copy paste this code from here. So you can see it will throw you exception. So let's say throws. So this is one way. Like I will read the property file in the test case and I will pass the Chrome path. But it's not a good way. You can see now if I have to use this 5 lines of code in every script, my script, like you can see the code duplicacy. So we'll create a reusable method for this. Don't worry. As of now, let's run it just to check whether we are able to launch the Chrome. Yes, Chrome started and you will notice, yeah, it started. Remaining step will be same, like it will simply start my blog. Now, why can't we create a library for this so that I will directly call them? So let's go ahead, create a new package called utility. In this package, I will create another class and I will say this file as config reader. Yeah, so here I will create a constructor. So now why we need constructor? So the constructor main purpose to initialize the data, right? Initialize some values. So I want to initialize this in the constructor. I don't want to keep this code in every method. So I will keep at least these 4 lines of code in the constructor. So this constructor will simply load the file. It will create object of file input stream and it will return me the object. Now you can see it's throwing some exception. So now I don't use throws because if I use throw here, again in the test cases I have to handle it. So I will right click, surround with try catch. So you will notice it is giving me two catch block because one is coming from property file and one is coming from file input stream. So I will remove one catch and this I will keep as a base exception. And in case anything goes wrong, I will directly print the exception, whatever exception will be coming. So exception is, and whatever exception will come, I will directly say e.getMessage. Now you can see this property file I have loaded successfully, but I need this pro object outside this constructor. So I need to make this as a global variable. So I will make this as a global variable and I will remove from here. So when I load this property file, so this pro object will be able to read any data. So I will call this uh, getProperty method outside this constructor. So now let me create a small method called getChromePath. What this Chrome path will do, it will simply get the Chrome path from the property file and it will return as well. So let's make the return type as a string. So I will say pro.getProperty and the key I will specify Chrome driver. I will get the path here and I won't print because printing will not make any sense for me now. So I will directly say return path from here. So I have one utility. This utility package have one folder class called configurator and here I have one constructor called configurator. And I have one method called getChromePath which will simply get the data from property file and it will return me. That's the reason I have written the return type as a string. So now if you want to use it, what you can do, just remove all this stuff from here now. So if you want to use, I will directly, first of all, I will call this config reader. And I will create object of it. So reader, or let's say config directly. Config reader. This is the class that we have created. And I will use this config dot get Chrome path. That's all. So you can see it's very handy to use right now. I don't have to write all the code. Whenever I need any configuration details, I will call this class. I will create object of it and I will call the respective method which I want to use. So as of now, I have only one method right now, but I can create multiple because I know your URL also I want to take. So let's take URL as well. In this file, I will create one more method called public return type again string. And again, I will say get application URL. And let's do this directly. I will say pro dot get property. See again, you can keep in these two lines, but again, one unnecessary code I will store in a string variable, then I will pass. It's the standard way. Without using much code, you can directly say pro dot get property. Specify the key. In our case, key is URL. So I have one more method now, which will return me get application URL. So now if I go to my script, I will not use this anymore. Config dot get application URL. So you can see now our script is very abstract. So if you know, abstraction means showing the essential features and hiding the background details. I don't want to show where my Chrome driver is located. So now you can see, now no one can see where is Chrome driver is located, what is the actual application URL. So the main purpose of property file itself is the keep the configuration details separately in a separate file. So now let's run this and let me make one statement driver.quit. I know this tutorial become lengthy, but it's very good concept. So let's see. I will further modify this code and you will get one new thing today. Um, One new annotation which I will use right now. So you can see it started Chrome. It means it is able to read the property file and it is able to read the URL as well. So it's opening my blog. Now it will load completely and it will quit. Yeah, here we go. So our test is completed. So now this is all about the property file. Now you can start creating methods. So as you can see, we have iDriver, Excel path. So take this as an assignment. Take multiple methods which you want to use here, like get Chrome path, get I path, get Excel path, get application URL. You can keep the URL in testng.xml as well. It's up to you. But I keep in my configuration file. So the thing which I want to tell here, like we have some multiple annotations in TestNG. So let's say if I create a method called setup. So in setup, I will keep all these details like loading the configuration file and all. So this config file, I will not keep in my actual test, or you can set this as well. Because this is not the part of the script. This is, you can say, as a setup. So setup part we will be doing in this setup method, like loading the configuration file, setting the Chrome path. So to do this, you can use one annotation called before test. What exactly it will do, it will execute this method before executing this test. So if you put mouse over, you can see it's coming from testng. So let's use it. So this is your actual test. This is your configuration. And if you want to give any command like setup is ready, you can use this out for your test execution as well. Test started, test closed. And once, why I'm writing all this, just to show you before executing this test, it will run this. So you will notice it will say setup ready, then we'll start. So let's run this. And you can see it is running the setup first. So it says setup ready. It means everything goes fine. And now it will continue with the rest of the test case. And yeah, this is the new session. So now you have noticed we used property file very efficiently and you must have noticed the benefit of it. So if you are not using this property file in your current project, then you have to use it. It will save so much time of yours. And it's a good practice to use a configuration file. In QTP, you have a separate file which is given by QTP, but since Selenium it's open source, so you need to create your own style. So this is how we use it. So once we move forward, you will notice in hybrid framework as well, I will use the same, but in a more efficient way. So that's all I have for this. So let me check whether we have covered everything or not. So we have covered what is OR, what is the use of it, read property file, create library and use the. So we are done now. So if you still have any doubt, you can drop me an email. Just visit my blog if you want the complete code. I have updated the same code in my blog. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial. Have a nice day.